What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Film Vault, where today we're counting down 20 crazy facts about Good Morning Vietnam, the comedy drama that turned Robin Williams into an Oscar-nominated leading man. From surprising casting decisions to hilarious improv moments, hidden production secrets, and facts that even longtime fans may have never heard, there's a lot more to this classic film than most people realize. Number 20. Back in 1979, Adrian Kroner, the real-life inspiration for the movie, went to watch Apocalypse Now with his friend Ben Moses. Moses had served at the same Saigon radio station as Kroner during the Vietnam War, but when the movie ended, both of the men felt unsatisfied, later saying that was not their story. At the time, Kroner was hosting a classical music morning show at Bar in Roanoke, Virginia. Inspired by the disappointment, he wrote a sitcom treatment that mixed the humor of MASH and WKRP in Cincinnati. On paper, it was a clever and commercial idea, but every TV network rejected it. They thought the Vietnam War was not funny, even though MASH was a comedy set in war and one of the biggest shows on TV. Every single one of them passed.
What about bananas?
No.
No, that doesn't say the right thing. You're right. How about...
Number 19. This story begins with Mitch Markowitz, a TV writer known for MASH. Around 84 or 85, while in Vermont, he learned that Norman Lear was nearby. He had worked on one of Lear's shows and decided to call him up, and to his surprise, Lear agreed to meet. He liked the script that Markowitz had written and mentioned a producer that he knew, Robin Williams' manager, Larry Bresner. Bresner had later pitched an idea for a comedy about Hollywood hair designers, and Markowitz worked on the pitch for 2 weeks, but when he presented it, Bresner realized it wasn't working. Markowitz got up to leave, convinced that he had ruined his chances, and Bresner stopped him with a simple line. He said, "Well, we've got something else," and it was an idea about Adrian Kroner, a guy with a radio show in Vietnam. Number 18. The project would first be planned with Paramount, but they did not want the bombing of Jimmy Wah's bar in the movie. Markowitz thought differently, arguing, how could you have a movie about Vietnam and have no bombing? Vietnam in the 60s was all about bombing. That's the first thing that tells you the war is coming. He stood firm on his ground, and Bresner supported him. Paramount would not give in, and the movie had to walk away from the studio. The hard-hitting Vietnam movie walked away from Paramount and would be produced under Disney's Touchstone banner. The scene that Paramount had tried to erase became the emotional centerpiece of the entire film. Do you want to explore more behind-the-scenes tales from the film industry? Well, don't forget to subscribe to the Film Vault. Be sure to hit that bell icon and stay updated on our latest content so you never miss another inspiring story.
Why are you still here?
Sparky, sitting back having a cup of formaldehyde.
You see, after you got with Trin, you meet me to talk and discuss about her.
Nothing to discuss. She doesn't like me.
Yes, she do.
No, she don't.
She do liking you.
Number 17. Barry Levinson had been wrapping up Tin Men when the opportunity to direct Good Morning Vietnam came along. Though he had never met Robin Williams, he had a crystal clear vision. He believed that Williams was the perfect fit to bring the radio scenes to life and thought that he would be perfect for the role. By 1987, Williams had a string of hits like Popeye, Moscow on the Hudson, and The World According to Garp, but none of them made a box office draw. The Popeye, in particular, had been a genuine flop. Executives thought that casting him would be a terrible idea. Levinson recalled the criticism, saying that he had 3 movies, they didn't go well, and it would be crazy to put him in the film. A lot of people questioned the decision, asking why they would choose Robin Williams, but Levinson refused to back down. Williams went on to star in the movie, and it became a big hit.
For those of you who are recovering from a hangover, that's going to sound just right. Let's pull it right back down again.
Let's try a little faster. See if that picks it up a little bit. Let's get up on 70.
Number 16. Robin Williams had been set to be one of the co-hosts for the 59th Academy Awards in March of 1987, but the filming schedule had to be moved up, and that forced Robin Williams to have to step away from hosting. It would end up being quite the good trade. Williams earned just under $2 million for the movie, along with participation points from its profits. The detail turned out to be crucial. It went on to gross over $123 million in the U.S. on a modest budget of about $13 million.
You kick out the gooks, the next thing you have to kick out the chinks, the spicks, the spooks, and kikes, and all that's going to be left in here are a couple of brain-dead rednecks. And what fun would that be?
Number 15. Before cameras even started rolling, the director filmed test footage in Los Angeles with Robin Williams sitting alone in a darkened studio. Williams wore a U.S. Air Force jacket with a name tag, and a small American flag sat on the console in front of him. He then riffed on the song Walk Like a Man, joked that Ho Chi Minh and Colonel Sanders might actually be the same, and even did a hilarious impression of Ethel Merman singing Silent Night. The whole thing signs off with Aretha Franklin's Respect. Levinson had watched the footage and immediately realized that right then and there, that Robin Williams was going to be fine. Levinson took the test footage, crafted it into a trailer, and sent it to theaters in the summer of '87. It teased a movie with the title card "Coming This Christmas" in bold blue military lettering, even though not a single scene of the actual film had yet been shot. They had a trailer, a release date, and no movie. Roughly 3.5 months later, it was complete. Number 14. Barry Levinson did not allow Robin Williams and Adrienne Cronauer to meet during shooting. This comes from Cronauer himself. He wrote the original story and was involved in the rewrite, so he wasn't some kind of far-off figure. Yet Levinson worried that if they met, Robin might unconsciously begin imitating him, which could change how he approached the character, and the two only met after everything was done. They became friends afterwards, shaking hands that day, and every year after they exchanged Christmas cards until Robin's passing in 2014. Cronauer was deeply shocked when he heard the news of Robin's death, and even had an unexpected favorite performance of Robin's, not in this film, but in Popeye. He'd always kept a level head about the movie and put it at roughly 45% accurate to his actual life, pointing out that if he'd done half the things that Robin does on screen, well, he'd have been court-martialed and shipped to Fort Leavenworth.
Let's try a little phrase. I like to call, my boyfriend's back and there's going to be trouble. Hey, nah, my boyfriend's back. Can we try that one?
Number 13. At the time, Williams was struggling with his confidence as a film actor. Barry Levinson, the director, revealed in 2021 that Williams was worried the movie might be his last chance to make it in Hollywood. His uncertainty ran so deep that he made a surprising offer. He called Levinson and said that if it didn't work out, he would pay for the reshoots. Levinson was stunned, trying to reassure him, telling him that there was more here than they could ever possibly use. Even as Robin questioned himself, he was unknowingly delivering a performance which would earn him his first Academy Award nomination. Number 12. Vietnam was off limits to Americans, so the production crew had to get creative. They first considered the Philippines, but the political climate made it a no-go, so they decided on Thailand. The heat was brutal, but the country proved to be the perfect stand-in. Filmmakers went all out, adding an authentic touch by shipping in vintage props like 1960s jet aircraft, taxis, and teletype machines. The crew transformed locations in Thailand into Vietnam of the 1960s. A Bangkok meteorological station became military headquarters and dorms, while Phuket's lush jungles and villages completed the illusion. Years before filming began, Mitch Markowitz visited Thailand to experience the culture and atmosphere. Unable to go to Vietnam, he explored Bangkok and its surroundings to gain insight for his writing.
This is AFRS Radio Saigon.
Number 11. The DJ you spot in the background is not a random extra. Played by Floyd Vivino, he's best known as Uncle Floyd from The Uncle Floyd Show. The program aired from 1974 to 1998 with about 4,000 episodes. It had chaos, comedy, and puppets like Oogie that made it a cult favorite. Even famous bands like the Ramones and the Misfits appeared on the show. John Lennon watched The Uncle Floyd Show with his son Sean and introduced it to David Bowie. Bowie then became a fan while he was starring in The Elephant Man on Broadway and would watch it every day while getting made up for the role. He turned up at a live Uncle Floyd show at the Bottom Line in Manhattan. Vivino had always said that first visit came in December of 1980, just weeks after Lennon was killed. Wearing an Uncle Floyd button, Bowie met him backstage, although Floyd did not recognize him, and in fact Vivino wanted him thrown out. Years later, Bowie immortalized the show in the song Slip Away from his album Heathen and performed it 73 times on tour, name-dropping Floyd's puppets Oogie and Bones Boy in the lyrics. Number 10. Until Levinson caught Robin goofing off on a porch. The classroom scene would be a struggle to make come alive when Levinson first filmed it. He found it stiff, lifeless, and missing the spark he needed. Due to frustrations, he stepped outside into the Thailand heat, and that's when he caught sight of Robin Williams sitting on the porch with extras who played his students. They were laughing and chatting and full of energy. He then threw the script aside, and Levinson told Robin to just start talking and move around and pick up the scene's main points naturally. He signaled the camera operators to follow along, and in his own words, told him to forget the dialogue. He knew what the scene was about, and he just had to do it. Levinson said it was the heart of both Robin as a person and the entire film. Without the spontaneous moment, he believed the movie would have been much more of a mechanical piece of work.
Say that. Movie. Baby! If something's really nice, you say it's groovy.
Number 9. The illustrator behind the movie is Michael G. Plug, known to comic fans as Mike Plug, and he gained fame as the first artist on Marvel's Werewolf by Night and for putting the flames on Ghost Rider's skull when the character debuted in Marvel Spotlight number 5 in 1972. He once explained his legendary design in simple terms, saying that Ghost Rider couldn't wear a helmet, so it had to be a flaming skull. He spent most of his career in Hollywood as a designer and storyboard artist, on John Carpenter's The Thing, and even on Superman 2. Before his fame, he served a decade in the Marine Corps, and during that time he wrote and created visual content for Leatherneck magazine, the Corps' publication. His experience made him a perfect fit to storyboard a Vietnam War film. Number 8. The softball game near the end of the film contains an unexpected moment that was not scripted. A Vietnamese actor noticed something odd about the equipment being used, and holding a melon, he pointed out, "I've seen a softball and this is not that." That's Levinson's recollection, told to Yahoo Entertainment. His confusion and frustration were real. Barry Levinson told the actor to speak directly with Robin Williams, teasing, "Robin is in charge of the equipment." Levinson discreetly gave the camera crew a signal to begin rolling and captured what happened next. The actor then genuinely expresses his grievance to Robin Williams, while Williams hilariously reacts in real time. The unscripted moment made it into the final cut, and Levinson later explained why he kept it, saying that you were getting the true personalities of the people as opposed to the lines they were trying to say. The crews of Good Morning Vietnam and Off Limits, another Vietnam picture that was shooting in Thailand at the same time, played an actual charity game against each other to raise money for medical supplies for Vietnamese refugee camps up north. Levinson would be named MVP, and his side won 35-10.
This kind of real baseball is much smaller and harder than this one.
You got me there, Wilk, because I'm sorry, we have no budget, you see, and I gotta get on a plane, and we have to do with what we can.
Number 7. Before his acting career, Richard Edson, who played Private Abersold, was the first drummer for Sonic Youth from 1981 to 1982. He was also in another band called Conk, and after Sonic Youth's debut EP, he left to go with Conk full-time. He had co-founded the Altar Boys, where he played drums and trumpet, and also played trumpet on the Off's 1984 record. While living on the Lower East Side, he worked with artists like Lydia Lunch, and during that time, filmmaker Jim Jarmusch cast him in Stranger Than Paradise, which led to him shifting from music to acting. The acting took off, and he turned up in Platoon in 1986, Good Morning Vietnam in '87, and the two films, released over a year apart, had very different tones. One was a serious war drama, and the other a military comedy. 5 of the movies that he starred in are now in the Library of Congress's National Film Registry: Stranger Than Paradise, Desperately Seeking Susan, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Platoon, and Do the Right Thing. Number 6. If you look closely at the credits, you'll find the line Marcia Garces, assistant to Mr. Williams. That's Marcia Garces, who joined Robin Williams' life in 1984 as the nanny for his son Zachary. Over time, her role would grow, and she became his personal assistant, and Good Morning Vietnam was one of the first films where her name appears in the credits. 16 months later, after the film's release, Marcia and Robin Williams got married. Together, they founded Blue Wolf Productions in '91, and Marcia went on to produce iconic films like Mrs. Doubtfire and Patch Adams, even earning a Primetime Emmy nomination for Robin Williams Live on Broadway. Their marriage would last 19 years, and they had 2 children named Zelda and Cody. Number 5. The chaplain Noel is played by Ralph Tabakin. Ralph is a retired engineer from the FAA who had been running community theater around Washington and Baltimore for years as a director and coach, and did not start appearing in films until he was in his 60s. His career started by chance during auditions for Diner. He was helping students practice lines when Barry Levinson approached him. Barry asked if Ralph preferred black and white or color TVs, and Ralph said black and white felt more realistic. Barry liked his answer, and that moment became Ralph's screen test. Levinson cast Ralph in Diner and then went on to feature him in every single one of his films for the next 17 years, spanning over 15 movies. He also played Dr. Shiner, the coroner on Homicide: Life on the Street, appearing across all 7 seasons. Levinson adored his authenticity, saying that he could never write what he does. Then there's the part of his life that has nothing to do with the movies. Tobican, enlisted in the Army, made staff sergeant and led a unit through the D-Day landings at Normandy. He was severely wounded in Germany and spent 6 weeks in a coma, and when he came out of it, he had to be taught how to speak, walk, and eat again. He had taken a mortar fragment in the jaw and came home with 2 Bronze Stars and 5 Purple Hearts.
Hello, hello, hello. This is your chaplain, Captain Noel. Your radio program of personal beliefs. Great and manifold are our blessings today.
Number 4. The composer Alex North created the score for the film, but there's barely any of it there. The soundtrack is wall-to-wall licensed period songs instead. North was famous for work on movies like A Streetcar Named Desire, Spartacus, and Cleopatra, and was hired by Stanley Kubrick for 2001: A Space Odyssey, but his score was then replaced without warning. He didn't find out until he sat down at the premiere. Though nominated for an Academy Award 15 times, he never got one. In 1986, he became the first composer to receive an honorary Oscar. For Good Morning Vietnam, his score lasted just over 17 minutes. Disney stored the recordings until 2017, when Entrada Records uncovered and released them. Since there was so little music, the label then added in David Newman's score for Operation Dumbo Drop to complete the record. It would not be his last score. He kept working till the end, and his final film was The Last Butterfly in 1991. While his music sat in a vault, the album of songs and Robin Williams monologues that came out instead went platinum and won the Grammy for Best Comedy Record in 1989. Number 3. The sequel you never got to see was called Good Morning Chicago. Disney planned it in 1992 with Robin Williams returning. This time, he would report on the chaotic 1968 Democratic National Convention. It was an intense time with 10,000 anti-war protesters clashing with 23,000 police and National Guardsmen. The script had been written by Mark Frost, who co-created Twin Peaks, and Williams later said it was a great idea, but admitted parts of it worked and parts of it didn't. Disney was ready to move forward, but things did not go as planned. Disagreements between Williams, Levinson, and Disney over the direction of the film made it impossible to create. That's the only reason that anyone's ever given. Levinson later reflected in 2021, saying that he couldn't recall exactly why it fell apart, but believed the character had potential for more. It was never released, and Disney still owns it to this day. Number 2. Most of the broadcast material was improvised by Williams, with the cameras just rolling as he went. Producer Mark Johnson said that when he sat down in the control booth to do the scenes, they just left the cameras rolling and managed to create something new for every single take. Levinson hired an audience to sit in and pipe their laughter into Williams' headphones in order to give him something to play off of. It worked beautifully on the first take and then stopped working because they'd already heard the joke. Eventually, Williams had to do it in silence. Scene after scene, he delivered material so unique that Levinson later admitted there was more material than could have been ever used. Sadly, nearly all of it's gone. Levinson never saw the outtakes and admitted that he'd love to see what was in them. It's believed that when Buena Vista did a cleanup of unused footage, they likely got rid of what was called extraneous footage. Number 1. Louis Armstrong recorded the song What a Wonderful World in August of 1967 for ABC Paramount, but not everyone was a fan. Larry Newton, the head of ABC Records, despised the song, wanting another fast-paced hit like Hello Dolly, and even tried to stop the recording session. He would be locked out of the studio and then later refused to promote the song. While the song barely made an impact in America, stalling at number 116 on the charts, it was a large hit in Britain. At the age of 66, Armstrong became the oldest man to reach number 1 in the UK. Despite the low success, he performed it often, even with heart problems, and passed away in 1971. The song would then largely be forgotten. 20 years later, Barry Levinson brought it back in Good Morning Vietnam, pairing Armstrong's sweet voice with helicopters, burning villages, and a bloodied sandal. The song was made in 1967, but the film was set in 1965, so it would have never been played for the troops. The most famous musical moment in the movie never could have happened. Nobody cared because it worked, and the reissued single finally hit America's top 40, and the soundtrack achieved platinum status, selling over 1 million copies while reviving Armstrong's most iconic song. Now, I know you love this video, so be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel so that you never miss another great video like this one. Got any suggestions for movies we should cover? Leave them in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.